Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Hope you are there. I'm Mr. Ahmed Fawzi, and I'm here with you today to revise Act 2 in a drama. You know that our drama this year is Adol's House, Henrik Ibsen. So if anyone is here, you are welcome. If you now listening to the recorder, that's okay. So I see that someone is there. That's nice. Welcome. Someone called himself AM. You are so welcome. So, Adol's House, Henrik Ibsen, as you know, it is a drama written by this Norwegian playwright in the 19th century, and it made a revolution in this part. Henrik Ibsen, when he wrote it, he defended, or he was one of the first people who defended the women's right in society, and he wanted to tell us and show us the role of women, the main role of women in family. Here from the title, we can guess that he is criticizing the people who think that the woman is only like a doll at her house, and he wants to show us what is the real role of her in society, or how can she help her husband to build a great family and share in building the society, and her responsibility in bringing up her kids. So here in Act 1, we have most of the characters, nearly all of them. We knew about Nora, the heroine of the play, and Helmer, the hero of the play. Helmer, who shows to be a dominant character. He is a master of the house. He's a strong character, self-dependent one. He liked to have his home independent, never depend on borrowing or asking people for help. And we have Nora, his husband, his wife, whom she likes to be also independent, but not in the eyes of Helmer. She knows her role in life, but because she has a lack of experience, she couldn't show this to Helmer. And through her conversation with her friend, Mrs. Lind, we knew that Nora has some secrets, which shows that she is also want to be independent, also want to be strong character. Mrs. Lind, Nora's friend, shows to be one of the most struggling women. She built herself, she helped her mom, her family. She married someone whom she didn't like, but because she thought that he is rich and may help in bringing up her brothers and help with her mother, her ill mother. After he died and her mother died, and her brother become old enough to depend on themselves, she starts her own life now. So Nora, Lind are examples of women. One who works or depends on herself, who were successful and try to be a fruitful character, or someone who add to the society, not just take. In the beginning, we may say that Mrs. Lind is a good example as a tragic hero. She seems to be the one whom Henrik Ibsen want to focus on. But later on in the play, we see that it is Nora whom Henrik Ibsen want to show us. This contradiction of roles appears in Act 2, which we will start today. What I'm doing now is just a preface, just a warming up, just to link Act 1 with Act 2. And we have Krogstad, this character, Krogstad, Helmer's friend, Helmer's past friend, this one who was evil. And most of us didn't like him in the beginning. Most of us thought that he was the villain of the play in the beginning. You know, that the villain is the one whom the writer used to show us the bad sides of the characters, the one whom the playwright wants to make an example of evil. He wants us to hate him, not to follow his steps in society. But later on, you may change your opinion. Later on, in Act 2 and Act 3 especially, you may, I say may, change your attitude towards him. But anyway, we know about Nora's secret. We knew that Nora borrowed money from this guy from Krogstad to help her husband, Helmer, when he was ill, and the doctors advised him to travel to a warmer place to live. Her father, who was a rich person, was nearly died, so she couldn't ask her father about money because her father was ill, severely ill in his last days. So she couldn't tell him that my husband is ill too, and both of you are in critical situations. So she knew also that Helmer didn't like the idea of borrowing money from people. So if he said to him, I will borrow money to help you traveling and have remedy, surely he will refuse. So she was threatened that she may lose her father and her husband at the same time. What did she do? She borrowed money from Krogstad. It's easy, and years passed. Helmer became well again, and her father died, and she started to pay back to Krogstad, and Krogstad didn't say anything about this, and the debt, the money which she borrowed, almost finished at the last time, or at the last payments. Just 3 or 4 quarters remains. So till now everything is okay, until Helmer was having the new position as a bank manager where Krogstad works. And Helmer's first decision was to dismiss Krogstad, to fire him from the bank. And this was a shock for Krogstad. Why? Because Krogstad in the past was an evil man. He wrote in the yellow papers. He has a bad reputation in society. And he now wants to demolish all of this past years. He wants to rebuild a new thing. He wants to have a good position in society. His wife died and he has 3 kids. He wants these kids to have a good father with a good reputation in society. So he was ready to fight for this position in society by all means, by all means. So when Helmer took this decision or made this decision to fire Krogstad, Krogstad came to Nora to blackmail her. You know, blackmail? Blackmail her with this secret. He threatened her if she didn't help him regain this position back in the bank, he may reveal the secret. He may tell Helmer about it. He may tell the people in the bank about that. He may do anything harm because Nora made something wrong legally. She forged the name. When she took money from Krogstad, Krogstad wants a bond, a check, a paper which keeps his rights. So she told him that she will ask her father to sign the paper as a guarantee. But her father was dying. So she wrote her father's name. She forged the paper. And now Krogstad threatens that if she didn't help in persuading Helmer to give him his possession back, Krogstad may take this paper to the judge. So he may raise a case. He may sue her. And this is very, very difficult for her and for Helmer as a new bank manager. So that chapter ends in this point, and let's see what's going on in Act 2. I will read for you the summary and discuss it with you. And if there is anything, you can write to me, or you can ask via any mean of communication together. I will go on. Okay. Act 2 opens in the same room as Act 1. The Christmas tree's decoration have been taken down, and the candles have burned out. Nora is alone anxiously worrying about whether Krogstad will write to Tervel revealing her secret. طبعا يا شباب, I want to remind you about what happened in Act 1. This was Helmer as an independent character, as one who has a mastering character like this, didn't allow someone like Krogstad to blackmail him. So Noura knows her husband's character. So she was afraid and worried and anxious about that. So she's interrupted by the nurse, hovering in a box of fancy clothes to look at. Noura asks about her children and hints at negative events to come, telling the nurse that Noura will not be able to be with her children as much as before. Here I want to remind you, when Helmer told her about his reasons why he dismissed the Krogstad, he told her that he's a liar. And he told her that one of the most bad characteristics of a human being is being a liar. And now she thought herself as being a liar. So now in this point, she tells the nurse that she may not be able to be with the children as much as before. Why? Because she's a liar. She thought that she herself is a liar. Now, when the nurse replies that the children will cope with her absence, Noura wonders aloud if they would forget her altogether. If she were to go away, the nurse is shocked because the nurse didn't know anything about these details. Noura asks her how the nurse could have felt comfortable leaving her own children among strangers when she first came to nurse Noura, when Noura was only a child. The nurse, who is helping Noura at home, left her kids alone to work. This is her job. Here the nurse replies that she was grateful for such a good position and that, given her financial situation, she couldn't pass up the opportunity. She couldn't let the opportunity go away. Noura tells the nurse what a wonderful mother she has been for Noura, and she would be a wonderful mother to Noura's children if they were suddenly without a mother. The nurse exists. The nurse now is confused, completely confused, because she didn't know about these details, why Noura said so. Alone again, Noura unsuccessfully tries to concentrate on the party being held that night in the upstairs flat, so that she could forget the problem of Krogstad revealing her secret. She is interrupted by Mrs. Lind's arrival. Mrs. Lind inquires, asks about Dr. Rank's depressive mood and the day before. Noura explained that Dr. Rank suffers from a very dangerous spaniel trabeculus that she has had from a childhood. طبعا Dr. Rank, we saw him in Act 1 as Helmer's closest friend. Now Mrs. Linde quietly continues to inquire about Noura's relationship with Dr. Rank and wonders if he is Noura's rich admirer. Mrs. Lind thought that Noura admires Dr. Rank because he was a rich person. Noura replies that Dr. Rank is a family friend and that there is no such admirer. Mrs. Lind pursues her idea, continue focusing on and assuring the idea, calls Dr. Rank tactless and presumes that he is the one from whom Noura borrowed the money. She thought that this was the guy from whom Noura lent the money or borrowed the money. Hearing Tolford approaching, Noura doesn't answer and puzzles Mrs. Lind into another room in order to hide the fancy dress costume from her husband. Torvald and Noura discusses her dress. As he leaves, Noura stops him and asks him repeatedly if he would do something for his little squire. هو كان بيدلعها كده. So now she wants to use her love for him or his love for her to give Krogstad back the possession. She wants to solve the problem by this way. But Noura asks him to consider dismissing Krogstad from the bank, but Torvald becomes angry, revealing that it is Krogstad past that he has promised to Mrs. Lind. Krogstad post, the position in society. As you remember in Act 1, when Mrs. Lind, Noura's friend, asks for a job, if Noura can help, she told him that my husband Torvald now become a bank manager and he can help. Helmer promised Noura of a position, And now he said that it is Krogstad position which he promised land with. And now there is a problem. There is a big problem because Nora, Mrs. Lind is Nora's friend. And Krogstad is the one who has a problem or this critical situation. So Nora couldn't know with whom she can stand, but surely she will stand with Krogstad. That she fears Krogstad, who once dismissed, will attempt to besmirch their name in the newspaper. Now another reason why Helmer dismissed Krogstad, he told Nora that this one Krogstad who writes in yellow paper, and he asks Nora, are you afraid of this? Nora tells, yeah, he is a bad guy, and he may attempt to write about in the newspapers and write bad things. Torful thing is that Nora is afraid of libel because her father's name was sold in the newspaper after his death. So he reassures Nora that unlike her father, I am not like her father. He is beyond criticism, not me. Nora warns about the contrabands of the men like Krogstad against their happy family home. Torful finally replies that Nora's please make it all the more impossible for him to change his mind. يعني بيقول لها all this means what you use to change my mind makes me more certain that I will continue in this opinion, in this attitude towards Krogstad. Torful finally replies that Nora's please make it all the more impossible for him to change his mind. What if word got out that he had reversed his decision simply because of his wife's anxiety? Oh my God, this is a good point, guys. Let me show you. Torful, who has a strong character, and this was his first decision in the bank to dismiss Krogstad. Imagine with me, imagine that he went back to the bank and say, oh, I reversed my decision. I reversed my decision concerning Krogstad, and I let him back again. People will ask, why, sir? He will say, because my wife asked me to do so. Oh my God, it's a very difficult situation. What people will say, what people will do after that. Whenever anyone has a strong decision, he will go to his wife. People will say from the early beginning that Torvald has a weak character. His wife controls him. Whenever we need something, we can ask his wife to do so. So he refuses Nora's plea for that. He refuses it completely, 100%. Okay, no going back. Let's continue. Torfeld argued that Krogstad is taking advantage of their early childhood friendship to speak to him in an inappropriately familiar manner. Yani Torfeld and Krogstad were friends in the past. So now he afraid or he's worried that Krogstad may use this when he comes back to the bank. He may use this manner again as friends and forget that this is a manager and this is just a clerk, which would make his position as manager untenable. Nora tells Torvald that he surely must not be so narrow-minded. هي بتقول له كده, don't be narrow-minded. You can't get angry. Torvald orders the maid to send Krogstad's letter of dismissal at once. When Nora told him that, don't be narrow-minded, man. Don't be narrow-minded like that. Oh, you see, Nora told him, don't be narrow-minded. This makes him more angry. He told her that he is narrow-minded. This insults him. So this makes him furious. And this is a lesson. This is a lesson for us. Whenever a woman or a wife, wants something from her husband, don't use such words. Don't challenge his personality as a man. She told that you are narrow-minded, and this is not appropriate way or not appropriate word to use with her husband, especially when he's angry. So Nora, because she is still green in life, she used this, speaks spontaneously, but Torvald becomes angrier and asks the maid to send the letter to Krogstad at once. To calm Nora, who is panicking, Torvald assures that he will have the courage to take upon himself anything and everything that happens. Nora is practically horrified by his statement. So she asks Torvald to clarify. He simply repeats that he will take upon himself everything that comes their way. Nora states that this will never happen. Torvald interrupts her statements as a desire to share the burdens as husband and wife, and assures her that this is what he has in mind as well. He then dismisses the whole topic, asking her if she feels better and telling her to go back to practicing her dancing for the next night's ball. يعني حفلة هنا. He also instructs her to direct Dr. Rank to his study the place or the room where someone studies and put his office. Leaving her alone, his tone is that of a father figure. Nora is bewildered with angsty until she is interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Rank. هنشوف دلوقتي الحوار بين نورا ودكتور رانك. Nora detains him and tells him that she always has time for him. Confused by his statement, Nora asks him to clarify his interest. يعني انت عاوز ايه من اللي انت بتقوله؟ Asking him if anything is likely to happen between them. Dr. Rank reveals that he expects to be dead within a month. He then asks Nora to prevent Torvald from entering Rank's sick room once he has entered the final stages of his disease. He arranges to leave Nora a visiting card with a black cross on it at the right time to signify that he is about to die. As night approaches, Nora and Rank have an odd conversation which flits between the serious and the mildly things. Nora is clearly building up toward asking Dr. Rank for financial help. He then seemingly unexpectedly confesses that he loves Nora. And this is something strange and unexpected because she deals with him like a family friend, but now he talked the topic or the way in a different way. He then seemingly unexpectedly confesses that he loves Nora. He says that he only visits the household on her account in her presence. This confession makes her request for money impossible, for it now would make the relationship tangled and explicit. Nora leaves the room briefly to bring in a lamp, steering the conversation back to safer territory place. يعني. She wants to close this part of conversation. Nora explains why she loves Torvald even though she seems to enjoy her time with Dr. Rank more. She observes the similarities between her relationships with Torvald and with her deceased father. The maid enters with Krogstad's visiting card. Now, the most difficult point. Now, Krogstad arrives. Krogstad with the idea or the information that Torvald has made his final decision. Krogstad now came and he didn't pay respect for anyone. Krogstad came to show his furious and anger. Krogstad came now to take his revenge. Let's see. The maid enters with Krogstad visiting card, telling Nora that he has refused to leave until he has seen Nora. Dr. Rank finally retires to Torvald's study. When Krogstad enters, Nora tells him to speak low, warning him that Torvald is home. Krogstad, unperturbed, asks her for an explanation for his dismissal from the bank. Nora replies that she did her best, pleading his case, but couldn't sway her husband. خلاص, أنا عملت اللي عليا. What do you want from me? Assuming that Nora told Torvald everything, Krogstad replies that Torvald must love her very little to have made such a decision. Nora informs him that Torvald still knows something about the matter. Krogstad asks her if she now has a clearer idea of what she has done, and Noura replies that she does. Very well. يعني نورا تفكر الموضوع هيتحل لما تديله الفلوس. تعال نشوف. Krogstad now replies that he will not make the matter public after all, but he will keep it between Noura himself and Torfel. Noura protests that Torfel mustn't know. But Krogstad replies that even if she did have the money to pay the outstanding balance on the loan, يعني حتى لو دفعت الباقي كله, he would still involve Torfel. هقول له برضه. For his intention is not to expose Noura but to blackmail Torfel. هيبتز Torfel نفسه. That is, he now intends to use Noura's influence to pressure Torfel into giving him a new highly placed job at the bank. Not only his past job, his previous position. No. He needs something more higher. Krogstad exists and drops a letter to Torfel into the locked letter box to which only Torfel has a key. What a problem. انتوا طبعا عارفين ان في حاجه اسمها letter box in front of any house there. And now in this house there is a letter box which has one key. This key is only with Helmer. And Krogstad now drops the letter in which she wrote every single detail about what Noura had done. What a difficult situation for Noura. What a crisis. What a catastrophe. She cannot control her mind. Mrs. Ned now returns and Noura reveals her problem, asking her friend to be her witness in case anything should befall Noura. Noura insists that in such a case, Mrs. Lynch should tell everyone that Noura was not insane and more importantly was completely responsible for everything. Mrs. Lynch responds in confusion. مش فاهمة. بتقولي ليه كده يا نورا؟ And Noura asserts that Mrs. Lynch could never understand the miracle that's about to happen. This miracle, Noura elaborates, is frightening. It mustn't happen, not for anything in the world. She hopes that she has a miracle. She imagines that she has a miracle, which stops the secret to be revealed. She was very, very upset about Torfel knowing about the situation. Noura hopes, Noura dreams that something may happen to stop Helmer from reading the letter, but she couldn't know what is that. Mrs. Lind offers to try to convince Krogstad to retrieve the letter. Mrs. Lind offers, لما Mrs. Lind عرفت, عرضت على نورا to speak with Krogstad to persuade him to retrieve, يعني to ask his letter unpacked again. She would use her old armorer's connection with him. Can في good relation between Lind and Krogstad, and this is something surprising for us. As a method of persuasion, Noura says that it is hopeless. بتتكلمي في ايه؟ But when Torvald begins knocking on the door, Mrs. Lind resolves to try and exit quickly. Noura unlocks the door for Torvald and Dr. Rank, but they are surprised because they expected Noura to be trying to hairdress. Torvald says that Rank has been preparing him for some great transformation scene. Torvald observes instead that Noura looks worn out, منهكة, and asks her if she has been practicing her dancing too much. Noura replies that she couldn't even do so without Torfel because she cannot remember anything without him. Hoping to distract him long enough, يعني عايزة تشتته بأي شكل إنه يطلع يجيب الجواب. Without him, hoping to distract him long enough to solve the problem with the letter. She asks him to help her all day and night until the party. Torvald agrees. But he heads toward the letter box first. قال لها, okay, I will help you, but let me first open the letter box. So Noura stops him by playing the first part of the tarantella. So it is the name of a dance. She's going to dance. She then lures him to play for her and play the piano and correct her while she dances. Dr. Rank, until now an observer, eventually takes over the piano so Torvald can stand and correct Noura better. Her dancing grows more wild and desperate until her hair has all come undone. While Noura is still dancing, Mrs. Lind returns and observes that she is dancing like her life depended on it, on this dancing. Thorvald eventually calls everything to a halt, chasing Nora for having forgotten everything he has taught her. Nora realizes that she has indeed forgotten everything and needs his help to relearn the dance. She tells him that he must not think of anything else. Yani she means not to open the letterbox, especially not any letters. Thorvald remarks that she can tell from her behavior that there is a letter from Krogstad waiting for him. وفهم بقى. Nora responds that she doesn't know, but that there might be. She begs, يعني تتوسل. She begs him not to let anything horrible come between them until after the party. Thorvald takes her into his arms, calling her a child and agreeing that she must have her way. He promises to work with her until after the party, at which point, in Nora's words, he will be free. They all retire to dinner. Nora calls for lots of macarons. As they leave, Thorvald and Dr. Rank exchange a few words about Nora's state of mind in a way that makes it clear that they have discussed this matter before. Dr. Rank, concerned, asks if Nora is expecting something. Thorvald finally dismisses her concerning behavior as evidence of childish nervousness, and they exist. Alone with Nora, Mrs. Lind tells Nora that Krogstad has gone out of town. Nora seems unconcerned and reverts again to the miracle. يعني تقول لها معلش سامحيني يا نورا دكتور Krogstad left the town. يعني she didn't meet him. نورا تقول لها ولا فرق معايا. Even you met him, I'm sure that you couldn't persuade him. So she speaks again about a miracle, about something unexpected to happen. Mrs. Lind presses Nora to explain herself, but Nora dismisses her questions, telling her she wouldn't understand. She sends Mrs. Lind into the dining room. Now alone, she composes herself, checks the time, and observes that she has 31 hours to live. إيه هما 31 hour اللي هما the time until the ball tomorrow. Thorvald's voice then rings out. He's asking for his little skylark. بيدلعها. The act ends. Act 2 خلاص كده خلص. With Nora going to him to enjoy the party. So, my friends, we have finished this act, and through it, we noticed how frankly Nora acts. We noticed that Nora was afraid, terrified about the consequence of revealing the secret. And now we knew how a man could be like Krogstad, when he fights for something, that he wants very much. In this act, which is the shortest one, Act 1 and 3 are more longer. In this act, we notice that Mrs. Lind tries to solve a problem. She does her best, but we don't know if this might happen or not. Also, we know from this act that Nora rejects the point of failure. She cannot tell Helmer about that. She is weak. She is not strong enough to face her husband with the knowledge. Even she did this for the sake of him. We know her position in her marriage with increasing clarity and find the strength to free herself from her oppressive situation. We now know that Krogstad is a wild one, an evil one. Even he will not reveal the secret in public, but he will blackmail Helmer himself. He will blackmail Helmer himself to have a higher position in society. So here Henry Kipson tries to show us the differences in characters between Dr. Rank, Krogstad, Mrs. Lyndon Helmet. We now know how difficult it is to have someone in home coming out and in at any time without permissions like Dr. Rank. And when he speaks to Noura and she asks him for money, no. Now he tells her that he likes her. This was very difficult. As we will see in Act 3, Mrs. Lind will advise Noura about this. So the whole play now shows us the contradictions between characters and the role of women in family and society, the role of money in family and society, how people differs, how people can struggle for their aims in society, how different characters we are, and how can we deal with such difficult situations. Thank you very much for this. I enjoy my time with you, hoping you have benefit. Thank you very much. See you next time, inshallah. Goodbye, guys. Stop recording.